Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Are you okay? Are you awake? Good afternoon. My name is Hatakeyama from Microsoft Japan. For the next 30 minutes, I would like to talk about Microsoft's AI-related activities and how it can be used in conjunction with sound-related applications. Now, or bot applications. You might not know this, but at the headquarters in the US, there's Ignite event, and there have been some updates about the AI-related activities, and I will share with you the latest. The chipset is also mentioned towards the bottom. It's not CPU or GPU alone, but FPGA, and there are others as well. And if you look at the upper portion, Azure machine learning is mentioned. So by using machine learning, we actually have new tool sets leveraging machine learning. Of course, that's not the focus today, but at the top of the slide, you might know this already, but Microsoft AI Engine includes cognitive services, and the updates was shared, and also bot framework is mentioned, which is really the subject today. And so protocol stack for AI is being made richer and richer. Deep learning framework. Raise your hand if you are actually describing that. Oh, yes, I see some in the first row. Maybe on another occasion, I hope to see you again and talk about that. So why AI within bot is what I would like to explain. There are three characteristics here. First is vision. When you communicate something, use vision, what you saw, and it has to be understood by the computer. And the one in the middle is not sound, but speech. Speech is spoken word. And so we're focusing on speech and also the language that comes from the speech, and the computer is expected to understand the language. The generic type of AI needs to understand not many, but actually understand dialogues between two people, two persons. What's most important is it's actually people that's important. Therefore, the face, and also when it comes to sound, it's the spoken voice. But the engine, as the picture shows, is in its childhood. This child is maybe about 6 years old, but if you actually use the machine, it's maybe not even 6, but 2 to 3 years old. But actually, it's growing dramatically. I'm in cognitive services, and I'd like you to incorporate this in your applications. There are 5 categories mentioned here: vision, as I mentioned, and language and speech. These 3 are very important. And of these, what's characteristic is the following. A Microsoft model is used as is, and therefore that's end of the story. However, when you want to incorporate data yourself, that's the custom vision service, custom language understanding, custom speech service. They are written at the bottom. In other words, the individual data can be registered. And let me explain how that's done. Please look at this. Custom vision service is actually made, and it's for a restaurant. You've eaten lunch, I hope. Did you have lunch boxes? A deluxe one, I hope. But what about dinner? What are you going to eat? Well, this is how it's developed. The photos, the pictures will be uploaded to the Azure Vision service, and you apply a tag, like a curry, for instance. What's important is how many pieces. Total is 43 pictures, but only 7 is tagged as curry. And so what happens is what I would like to show you next. The photo will be uploaded first, and then tag the images, and then you go to train. So in other words, you train the system, and after the learning, there's this quick test page, browse local files or submit image, and you can actually test the result of learning. So this is the Chinese dumplings. I'm sure you do search on Google. I hope you use Bing as well. Bing is a wonderful tool. I love it. So I hope you use it. Well, don't ask me why I like it. But anyway, these dumplings, this is right after lunch, but you might want to eat this. So just disregard the copyright here, and just choose one image, and just you choose this address and copy it or paste it on this field. And what it does for you is the cognitive service includes this vision service. And if you look at the towards the bottom, the tags here. Maybe 99.2% is the probability that the image is actually the dumplings. And if, of course, aside from the tagging, you wouldn't be able to tell what it is. Not all food categories are covered, but if it's normal or abnormal, at least that is actually that such an evaluation is. For example, in a plant, something that should be standing is standing, therefore it's normal. If it's sideways, then it's maybe abnormal. So that's simply possible. And what's the beauty about this? Well, I'm sure you like this, but performance is a tag here, and prediction URL is mentioned here. So web service can be made very quickly. If you click on this, as you have just seen, if you can access from the internet, and also another cases where you access it from local, and if you can just add a tag, then that's the end of it. So it's very simple, very easy to use. And in front, in the audience, a few of you, I think we're already using this. But then what about deep learning? How can you use this here? And this is a case of CRTK, and it talks a lot about this Python and library imported using CNN network and establish all these or put together these networks and so forth, on and on and on. And you get this model file. And the file is published on the website, so it's a hassle. But compared to that hassle, this is much, much easier to do. So I hope you can recognize that. So that's in the cognitive service as one of the functions. So Navitime is a company that's using this in developing their LINE application. What that exactly is for non-Japanese people visiting Japan, and let's say there's a temple picture but cannot explain what it is because we or that non-Japanese person doesn't know how to say it or describe it, but he wants to visit the temple, so he wants to explain by using that image. So LINE application can receive the photo, the image, and then the Navitime application is what we're talking about. So from here to that location, how many minutes will be required? So it's a routing guidance. And then you input the text. However, the photo or the image can be added to the communication store, and communication will change quite dramatically as a result. Now, within AI, conversational AI is positioned as one piece, and bot is part of that. That's where it emerges. A new interface is, as was mentioned in the morning, a new interface was presented or launched. And so with that in mind, what do we do in the background is a hot topic these days. And because we're a developer or developers, why bot? Windows, MS-DOS, you don't use much. So there's this folder called AA. So this is supposed to be a joke, but anyway. So in the old days, well, I am one of those people belonging to that generation, but how to make instructions to the computer, CMD, command, LSCTS, there can be different forms, but command has to be written right, otherwise it's going to react in a wrong fashion. Because different computers have different language specifications. Linux is using, it is maybe what you're using, and then you have to switch to Windows, and it's a pain in the neck. And the picture you see here is supposed to make you laugh as well. This is Windows 3.0 or 3.1, and this is the program manager that launches the program, and this is GUI based. The smartphones that you're using is the advanced version of that. You just choose an icon. Just think about it. The smartphone icons, they're not that different from those icons in those days. You have these icons, and so not much development there. But conversational AI, for the first time, actually incorporates the speech and also conversational text. It's really first of a kind. So it's more like a user interface and user experience being designed in a slightly different way. So what is a conversation? You do some transaction in bot, but that's not the end of the story. You have to see this as an engine that gives instructions access to the computer. So if you just bring this to the bot in the beginning, that makes it quite simple. And this is open source, and therefore we're collaborating with many people. But when we're using Line, it's a problem. Bot connector is mentioned here, and web chat is mentioned here. This is the web screen, and Skype and Slack and so forth. There are different kinds, but Line is not mentioned here at the far right. So how are you're supposed to connect to Line, and direct Line at the bottom is a REST-based API that has to be used. And a lot of people are still using this direct Line, but bot framework itself and Line message API are of different nature, and therefore there's a mismatch there. And so bot framework, the conventional ones, how far can we go with the existing ones? Let's take a look at it. So this is the Node screen of bot. Node.js, if you like Node.js, raise your hand. Python, if you like Python, raise your hand. Oh, maybe that was not the right choice. So I brought Node, but anyway. So you can use different languages, but bot framework. SDK is the richest in C#. Unfortunately, maybe I shouldn't say that, but anyway. And next is Node, quite good. It's easy to make. And if you can look at the screen, Node, there are certain expressions here already. Here, builder. So you go back and check what that builder was. And that's bot builder, which is a library that's available. And source code is made open in the GitHub, so check it later. So source code, if you npm install can be brought, and bot builder can be just brought as is, and bot builder SDK can be used as is. And then over here, chat connect or connector, bot SDK has the so-called IP and password, which are to be set here. And after setting those in the bot data, you develop what's called a dialogue. And this is quite unique. Bot SDK, one dialogue is one conversation. So conversations after conversations, and every time you make dialogues one after another. And then the design there, concept, is quite in good match or not in a good match with others in some cases. Let's look at the Visual Studio Code. It works on your Mac, and the terminals are integrated. So at the very bottom, Node app.js, if you type that in towards the bottom, the terminal works, and port 3000 is used for listening, and you can actually look at this local one, and bot framework. The local host 3000, I would like to connect to that, and it's maybe hard to look at the screen, but it says, the bot says, I will do a search as to the location that you're in right now. And so bot typically starts with that kind of a message, and then what does it do next? Well, actually, you input the natural language, and I'm sure that you do this. A natural language analytics engine is needed. Is it Mecha or black letters or text? But maybe you think that you need to do some kind of analysis of the language. And it's true. User can input anything that he wishes, so that's rather normal. However, for us at Microsoft, within cognitive service, the input language is classified by this engine. Custom language engine service is one that can do that for you. But think about it. Can you tell me what this bot is likely to do for you? No. So let's make some improvements. I'm going to comment out here. Not here, but here. Over here, initial conversation. That's what it says here. And over here, I'm pointing to that initial conversation. What it does is it shows the options. So what options? Let's go scroll down. Over here, it says lunch. Is it about lunch that you want to ask, or is it about pasta? In other words, it has the function of showing the different menus. For example, sorry, I mistyped. Okay. So like this, it says, at the beginning it says, what are you looking for? And then there appears this menu. Is it lunch? Is it pasta? Or what? So bot can actually specify that. And it's rather clear to understand that this is the limit as to what bot can do. And this is about navigation design. You've eaten lunch already, but let's click on lunch. And then, of course, this is a crab fried rice. Well, I didn't eat fried rice today, but I like it. So LINE application typically has this kind of image as well. And so it's not text, but the image that is actually used for instructions, and you click on it, and this is Tabelog for making reservations.
Even if you don't go to Tabelog, if you call the API for Tabelog, then you can integrate with that. So going back to here, actually in the code, there's cognitive service function that is added, but the role is different. But please look at it for fun. For example, description of the image. That is within the cognitive service. So you can create the description on the image. Let's use this photo. This is last week. Don't ask me what I'm doing, but this is a photo I have. So if you like Microsoft, please come to Seattle. For $25, you can eat crab all you like. So it is a very good restaurant. You can eat all you like. So I'm in all smiles, but so this is a gathering of people eating at the table. That's what it says. That is a good try, but what is on the picture? This is done by machine learning engine, but there's no engine that can create the description. So it is actually returned in English. After describing the photo, there is English sentence, and it is translated into Japanese. There is merit in this, which is that you can respond to needs from foreigners. So if you have the base in English, it can be translated easily. So this is a best practice for multi-language support. So it's not that you shouldn't use just Japanese, but you should also use English as the base and do machine translation. So this is also another photo from my private life. So I don't have to worry about copyright. So this is Seiseko Field, baseball field. Ichiro used to play here. So this is a group of people watching a baseball game, and it is a bit funny in Japanese. So initially, as of today, AI is still 2 years old or 3 years old, but what happens in the future will be different with development. So let's try another thing. So this is to discern what the food is. What this means is that earlier you looked at this custom vision API. In the background, you're calling this. So this person, curry, pizza, ramen, all these are understood and we select the photo. Let's say this is Chinese dumpling. Looks good. Then it says dumpling 99.8%. This is good. So the tag and the probability KPI is shown here. So for example, if it is more than 50%, it would shown, or there is sentiment when there is more than 99%. So expression can be tweaked using this value of probability to add some sentiment. So in the background, actually, there are many things that are being seen. Emulator is quite great. So this is inside the HTTP, you can see, for example, what data is posted and what data is gotten. You can see the log. So you can use this conveniently in development phase. So going back to this screen, I will exit this terminal. And here we are. So that's what we can do. So what I talked about is in design, these are the things that you should keep in mind. So before writing code, this is the concept. So in bot, we have best practice that we have gained. So firstly, as I mentioned in the beginning, the capability of the bot should be shown as a menu. We had one menu, so for example, event, and within event, what kind of criteria are you interested in? So there's another menu, and then if music is chosen, music to be chosen for an event, then for the first time you can do free word search. So if you do navigation with a menu, it is very good design so that users do not make any mistake. And NAP, natural language processing, is not necessary for Japanese language. So on both sides, you can avoid mistakes in computer communication. And also, this is mostly for smartphone application for Line. Do you want the user to input many words? Some people can, but this conversational API means that anyone can use a computer. That is the objective. That is why we want to use bot. In that case, in order to allow many people to use this, we need to minimize the word input from the user side. This means that this is to increase the number of users as well. With a change in design, we can increase the number of users. And menu breakdown is what we call this. This is a very good pattern in design. And please look at this pattern. Ultimately, what are we doing? So in many cases, this is a knowledge base. So there's many cases where search is done. So in bot, you want to find a document, or after conversing with the bot, you want to find something on Tabelog. So this is database search. If you want to do this with natural language, but what we recommend is that search should be done by search engine. In Azure, we have Azure search engine. So this is text search engine. So sometimes there might be errors in the input for search, but this engine has the function to absorb such errors so that you don't have to worry about it. So how should we do this? So location, category. In the prior example, is it Shibuya or Shinjuku? In category, is it Chinese food or Italian food? You have the data structure. Search engine has a major index, a big table, and we should align ourselves to that. So in the question, we ask the location, and we have Shibuya and Shinjuku. And for that, we have the information, so we can suggest that as the option. And then, what is the category of food, Japanese, Chinese, or others? Then we can do the filtering to narrow down the options. As long as we have the metadata, search engine can function very well. So this is the design. This is the pattern in design. So these are the criteria. ID and FA, so question and answer should be aligned to each other. Question and answer should be next to each other. And category is in the middle. So we have Chinese or Italian food or Japanese food as categories. So you do filtering with category, and then user input is a question. So you can search using that question, and you return the answer to the bot. That is the design. So this works very well. When you do search, you can also change the weight. So you ask a question, and you can put weight of 9, and the answer is 1. And then you can add that when you do the search. So in the background of the screen, by doing this, you can create a bot that can search on the database. Only 50% of bots today are knowledge base. So it is doing search. You are creating the application for search. In bot framework of Microsoft, actually, we have design principle that is released in English. So please refer to this as well. So lastly, I want to talk about, I'm here today because this is Line Developer Day. We didn't have a connector for Line, but there are some people gathering to create this. So on GitHub site, please access this site. And TypeScript, with TypeScript, it is written in TypeScript. And using this, you can connect easily to Line. And there are many things that occur actually using this. So let's see the screen. So, for example, this is bot framework screen, and there's add a channel so that you can support many channels. You see many icons. Line is not listed here currently, but you can use direct Line REST API. Then you can connect to Line. So let's go to Node.js, and we talked about dialog. So data structure is different. For example, this is message for texting. Inside, you have add rich cards. In Line message as well, there's text and photo and address and URL used. So here, in bot framework, we have more types. For example, adaptive card, animation card, audio card, hero card, thumbnail card, many. So in that case, data mismatch occurs. In creating one thing, for example, it works on Facebook but not online. And such difference in format should be absorbed. And that is done by this. This is Windows, but is there any Windows developer here? No? Windows developers, in using this, you need to use Passion window. So I have launched Passion window here, and you have run dev, and TypeScript is compiled, and bot SDK is launched. So likewise, port 9999, we're waiting, and then NGR OK. Proxy forwarder is used. So local port 9999, we make the entry point. So NGR OK.io address is here. So on Line developer portal, within this, there's webhook URL. So please replace it with this. Then you paste it and you update. Web application is now working on my PC. My PC is now communicating with bot SDK and Line SDK. And actually on Windows, we already have Line application. No one knows this. So Line application that can be used on devices other than smartphones. So this is available for Windows, and I'm using it as well. So let's say konnichiwa, hello. So this is hello world. Line says hello as well. So now the line is established. In using bot SDK, there were many cases using bot SDK, but when you want to use it simply, there is nothing that is available. So we have these people creating bot for Line, and other than text exchange, so cards in bot SDK can be used easily, and we are now developing the converter as well. Mac Linux, you can use it. And for Windows, you need Bash still. So we still need to fix this as we develop, but we need to let it work on Windows still going forward as well. So there are 5 contributors now. Please join as well, and please come and look at many information here. So let me summarize. There are many functions in today's bot application. How can we get many users to use it? And we have AI and big data technology to be embedded. I talked about cognitive service today, but not only that, in bot, we have sample for Line connector SDK. So I hope that you will create fun applications using this. Thank you very much for your attention.